off my
It's
glasses.
time. That's right. So we'll give it a few minutes, guys, and then we'll kind of give you the rundown of what this stream is going to be about. This is our, like I said, our first ever podcast. And so I'm sure there's going to be bumps in the road, so just bear with us.
Yeah, because even on my screen, it looks like my camera's like super laggy.
Super laggy.
Yeah, like on my end, it looks like I'm super laggy for stream.
Yeah, I mean, let me pull up. Let me pull the stream.
Yeah, because on my end, it looks super laggy because I'm looking at it through my PC.
Sure.
Really plugged my headset in. But...
From what I can tell, it doesn't look laggy on my phone that I'm watching.
It may just be my end. Yeah, it might just be. Yeah, it's just my end because I can see it like the entire screen's lagging out for me. It's just my end.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh man.
It may just because I'm using two different things, and yeah.
It could be. Yeah, I wish one day, well, hopefully one day I'll be able to go live from TikTok. That'll be fun.
Yeah, getting live on TikTok is very, very hard, and like
yes.
Even I've tried, and it's just like, nah.
I'm at 179 followers, so I need more than that. What is it, 1,000, isn't it?
I think so, because I have 379, and they still said no, and then they also said that you may also have to possibly be in the creator fund, so it's just like...
Oh. Ooh. Yeah, then I'll probably never get it.
Same, because like I just made one specifically for like the gaming situations, and then my actual business that I'm starting now that I have some products, and it's all just like, yeah, you're not going to be able to go live for a while.
Right. Yeah, I know that, you know, with Stream Elements now, you can go live right from your PC to TikTok using Stream Elements. They've kind of went together on that, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, because when I tried to use Stream Elements, like I could not figure it out, so I went back to the beta, but for the most part, once I figure it out, I think that's where I'm going to stream from originally, because I feel like it'll be easier in the long run, and I don't have to worry about my overlays deleting themselves.
Well, true. Very true.
Yeah, it's just my end, because nothing's super...
Beware, unicorns is slightly crazy.
I've known him for the longest. What, 6-7 years, maybe?
Crazy. It's okay to be crazy.
Yeah. We've had our up and downs, but nonetheless.
Okay, chat. So we're going to go ahead and kind of get started, give you the rundown. So this is, I'm sure everyone knows, this is our first podcast style stream that have ever done. So we're here with Unicorns from Steam Warriors. And we're going to kind of just discuss a little bit for the next hour and a half about her journey as a streamer and how, you know, what she's been doing, what she's been up to. A little bit of streaming mental health, streamer mental health as well. So if you guys have any questions from chat, go ahead and put your comment or question in there, and then we will get to it if time allows it. Also, this will be posted and uploaded to YouTube to watch later, and will be posted on Spotify as well. So first, I want to say thank you to Unicorns for allowing me to be allowing her. Wow, let me rephrase that. For her volunteering her time to come on here and be our first ever guest. So I want to say thank you to Unicorns and all of everyone who's come by to watch. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it, Unicorns. So what got you into streaming?
I have tons of streamer friends and just people I know in different communities that stream and have played with actual streamers. And I knew from like a really like 14, maybe 15 that I wanted to stream and did originally, but like I just didn't like the way it was, and I felt like it just wasn't good enough in that moment. So I've been through name changes, to figuring out to taking a break and everything like that. And I was just like, yeah, this is something that I genuinely want to do. So I impulsively bought everything that I needed.
Okay. Was Twitch your first platform of choice when you first started streaming?
For me, it was YouTube, and then I realized I felt like I would do better on Twitch because there's a lot of different communities and certain small streamers, like they tend to get a lot more action and interaction with like smaller streamers and everything like that. It'll be better to be seen there than it is on YouTube.
Okay. You never tried Mixer out, huh?
I thought about it, and I was like, then I'll have like four different accounts doing four different things. Might as well stay on Twitch.
Right, right. Gotcha. So when you started streaming, did you ever think that it was going to turn into something? Was it a hobby that you wanted to do, or do you want to turn this into a career down the road?
Probably a career down the road for me because I have different things that I wanted to do, but I feel like me being a streamer down the long run will probably be the best for me because I love interacting with people. I love being able to create a great community, a welcoming community for different people, and all while doing the things that I love.
So you're talking about community, and one thing that I really enjoy is community that it follows games. For example, the Fortnite community. You know, I play Fortnite mainly. That's the game of choice that I play on stream. Do you think that the game that you play really kind of defines who you are at for the community, or do you think that doesn't really matter?
I would say both because I mainly play Sea of Thieves right now, and that's kind of like my choice where I feel most comfortable until I figure out everything. But like that's also where I'm mainly gaining a following from. That's where I tend to see more views. And with that being said, whenever like I guess it depends on the day or like the type of stream it is, I guess. Because for me personally, I see it as you can be doing this, and this could be your specific game of choice, and you can build a great community with that specific game or whatever you shall be playing. But it also could be great to like gain interaction from people who like different games or people who just kind of like your energy that you bring when you're streaming and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, energy is very important because I feel that, you know, as streamers, the chat can definitely feel an energy change, whether you maybe aren't as energetic that day, or, you know, when you hit that live button, you know, you have to put on a show, so to speak. So, you know, do you think that it really affects you if you're in a bad mood and you hit that live button, you know that chat's gonna pick up on that. How do you overcome that? How do you get past that?
For me specifically, because there's days where I just completely feel really sick and things like that. So what I'll do is I'll kind of just give myself a pep talk, like, okay, hey, like you may be having a bad day, but you could make someone's day a lot better just by being nice and opening that warm experience. So even if your day is kind of just not going the way you want it to, at least try to better someone else's because you never know. Just putting a smile on someone else's face can make their day a lot better, even if yours is kind of just going the other direction.
Right. I completely agree. So back to, you know, with the specific games, what's a really popular game everyone seems to love, but you don't?
Mm, Among Us, I can't. It stresses me out. I cannot play that game. That and Fall Guys, I see tons of streamers playing, and I'm just like, I can't. It gives me a headache. It frustrates me.
Right.
It's just a game I will not play.
Those two games, I will tell you, are out of the games that I've played, are the most frustrating games I have ever played in my life. Fall Guys is like so frustrating for me. It's fun,
Right.
but I lost interest in it very quick.
Same. I played it for like 2 days and I just felt the anger because like you'd get so close or then someone would pull you and fall off or you'd be just at the finish line and then you'd fall or you wouldn't make it because someone else did before you and it was just like very frustrating.
Yes, out of the games that I've played, I think that's probably one of the easiest ones you can cheat at if you are a cheater.
Honestly, because you see tons of cheaters in um, different games, and that's definitely one of the easiest games to cheat in.
Right. So on the flip side, what's a game that you didn't expect to enjoy but ended up liking?
Um, it'd probably be this game called Stardew Valley because I'm not really one for like farming games and things like that. Like Minecraft's okay, I'll occasionally play it, but that's like a more like farming based, and I don't think it's a game you can really beat. But it's fun. It takes your mind off of everything. Like it's one of those games you can play for hours and not even realize it. Like 4 hours can go by and you'd be like, oh, I've been playing it for this long, and then like it wouldn't even feel like it.
I understand what you're saying because I have a game that I will do that with, and it's called City Skylines, and I absolutely love that game. And it's a, if everybody doesn't know, it's like Sim City where you build a city and whatnot. And I don't stream it because I think it gets super boring to watch. But I agree, there's games out there that you can just play and play and play, and you don't even know how like the whole day's gone, which is it's
Yeah.
kind of relaxing too because you can kind of just mellow out and just zone out. You don't have to really do anything but play the game, and I really think that's it's good for your health too.
Yeah, because like it's kind of like the same with Minecraft as well. Because like I try not to play that as much on stream because like it's like one of those games that can get boring really quickly if you're just like mining for like 5 hours, or if you're trying to build your house. It gets very boring after a while. So I
Right.
try not to play like those single player games because like it can get boring after a while, and I want to keep chat engaged and make sure that it's something that someone genuinely wants to watch.
Right. Now, with that being said, too, is I see a lot of comment or content creators on TikTok recently talk about streaming popular games versus not popular games because of more viewership you could potentially can get. Do you agree with that, or do you feel that maybe you should just play whatever game you want and your chat will be there? I mean, what is your take on that?
For me personally, I feel like it goes both ways because like certain games, like when Among Us was like super popular and literally all the popular streamers and YouTubers were playing it, like in those instances, that may be a good like time to play it because people were looking for different people playing it, seeing different point of views and everything like that. But at the same time, if you're not enjoying it, don't force yourself to play it. Play whatever you feel comfortable with. And if someone likes it, then enjoy that following, enjoy that communication rather than pushing yourself to play something that you really don't want to.
Right. That's very great advice, chat. So take that and run with it. Um, what game have you spent the most number of hours on?
It either be Stardew Valley or COD. Just any COD. I can play those for hours and not realize is I have I think all of them, every single COD game there is, and I can just sit there and play them for hours and just be like, oh, okay, I should probably do something else.
Right.
And I'm gonna keep playing the game.
Right, right. Very good. So, Chad, if you're just joining, we're chatting with unicorns from Steam Warriors. Trippy says hi. He's on my stream. Hello. So back to our questions. Also, to chat, if you have any questions that you want to ask, that is for unicorns, please put it in the chat, and we will get to it. I do have some already pre-made questions, but if you have any questions for, just put it in chat, either on my stream or her stream, and we can get to it down the road. So, what resources did you use to find viewers, or do you use to find your viewers?
For me, I just try to post on all of my social medias because for me, starting a business and then also like having like pre-made Instagram accounts for specific different things, I try to post on all of them. So I'm gaining interest from many different types of people. And then like also like posting them on like my Facebook, even though I really don't use it. And then doing that, just letting people know and like my community of like friends or family, like, hey, this is something I'm actively pursuing. Like, come say hi, come support me. And like, even if you don't like really like it, like that's okay, but at least thank you for supporting. Like, kind
Awesome.
of just putting out that kind of message.
So tell us a little bit about your business. I know you said off before we started that you are starting a new business, and I'm interested in hearing what that is.
Yes. So I officially, as of yesterday, have a business. It is called Spirit Designs. It goes with my summer blend of unicorns dye because of my love of unicorns. And I wanted to keep them based. And I will be selling a list of resin products such as rolling trays. Also trying to figure out because I talked to people with doing like things with like ashes of loved ones and things like that, and creating pieces that they can create and have as a forever keepsake and things like that. And then also self defense keychains because the world's a crazy place, and with the way it's going in just different places, you can never be safe. And then also like making mental health awareness things because mental health is very very important to me, and just making sure that my business can help everyone and it's not catered to a specific person.
That is, we would definitely, you guys need to get out and support her new business. Unicorns, you can drop your links, either my chat or your chat, or where can we find you? I mean, you said you have social media. Are you on Facebook, Instagram?
Yes, so my Instagram for right now until I get my actual business Instagram up is here. I'll type it in your chat, and
Okay.
here, yeah, give me 1 second and I'll type it in your chat to make it easier. um, oh yeah, my keyboard doesn't want to work. Can't
Oh,
do that.
that's right. Go
Like, why
ahead.
is it not working?
I'll go ahead and type it in.
Yeah, so
It's
my
is it your
Instagram.
username, right? Is your unicorns underscore die?
Yeah, it's that, or and if that doesn't come up, which it should, then it's Daya with two A's underscore and free. And then my Twitter is actually my gamer tag.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know why my keyboard still won't work. But
So, what topics do you speak about on when you go live? What topics do you talk about when no one's watching?
for me, it varies. Like if I'm playing with my sister and a friend, and we're playing like Sea of Thieves, it can vary different things. It could be us talking about random business things or things we want to work on or see in like different communities, or it could be us talking about like things we want to see change in, or things we saw in like social medias that we feel like um we could make an impact on, or things like that, and opening our communities to that. Or even it could be like, depending on if there's someone in the chat just having a really rough day, we'll be talking about like mental health things and things that we can do to help them, and like things like that. Our chat can be very diverse and at certain points.
I agree with you 100%. Let's see here. So, uh, how did you find Steam Warriors? I wanted to ask that. How did you come to find Steam Warriors, and how are they treating you? Uh,
I joined in on Thanos' stream because I tried to, because I wasn't streaming at the moment. I was still figuring out my stuff. I try to hop into his stream every now and then when I could, when I wasn't busy. And when I had joined, I think it was like a couple weeks ago, and he was just like, "Oh, you should join this community if you're gonna get out streaming." And then I think it was Joker that was just like, "Hey, message me and we'll add you." And I was just like, "Okay." And when I joined, you guys were very welcoming. I'm a very shy and socially awkward person, but when I joined, you guys were very nice, very welcoming. You guys gave really good advice, and if I needed anything, like, you guys were always there to kind of guide me in the right direction, or if I needed help or had questions, someone was at least there at least once to kind of help me or answer my questions. And I love that because certain communities I've been in have not been that nice.
yeah, I want to piggyback on that. You know, is communities are can be very very open and loving and supportive of everyone, like Steam Warriors is and will continue to do, and as they grow. or in the flip side of that, there's also those communities that are toxic, meaning those are communities that, if you don't support everyone or you don't go to everyone's stream, they're not going to support you. How do you combat that if you're in that type of community? What can you do for yourself to kind of overcome that? Because we only have so much time in the day, and we can only
Yeah.
go and watch so many streams as we're trying to grow our brand. What advice do you have for streamers that are in those toxic communities?
Honestly, if it's benefiting you, kind of just like talk to them. See if you can figure out how to get to the bottom of the situation. Maybe like there's just like underlying things that you may not know about. And if that's not the case, then honestly, it may be just the best bet to leave the situation because it's not going to progress anywhere and it's not going to necessarily backtrack you anywhere. You're kind of just going to be stuck in this middle wall where it's like, if I stay, it's like I'm not really getting any support from my community. But if I leave, I'm kind of back at square one. And then it's like it goes hand in hand. But like in the long run, you got to kind of focus on, okay, this community is not really treating me the best, but it's also helping me at the same way. You got to kind of figure out if it's a if it's either healthy or it's just completely toxic altogether.
There's definitely a fine line that you kind of ride in those types of situations. So I do have a question for you from my stream. This is one of my viewers. Any advice for new streamers? Um, what is, I know you haven't been. How long have you been streaming, by the way?
I want to say a week or two. I took like a week off because like I was having seizures like constantly, almost every day. So took like a week off, was just streaming and just healing and getting better. And when I felt good enough, I started streaming again. Honestly, taking your time, just playing what you want to play, not feeling inclined to play whatever is popular at that moment. Because see, for me, I started out playing Sea of Thieves. That's not what like mainly many people see. Like that's one of the smaller games you see people playing, even though it kind of is like still a massively popular thing, but you don't really see many streamers playing it. So with that being said, is just play what you want to play what you love, because eventually you'll start to build that community. It took, and you just got to be patient because it took me a few days, even like getting like genuine like people that come in every now and then, be like, hey, just popping in, your stream's good, and then they leave. And even that's good because like I talk to them occasionally. They've also like messaged me and just been like, hey, I genuinely enjoy your streams, things like that. You just gotta be patient.
Right.
It's something you definitely just gotta work with over time.
One of the pieces of advice that I want to add to that is it's a marathon, not a sprint. You take your time, take your days off. You don't grind, don't burn yourself out, because at the end of that, you're going to fall out of love of streaming, and you're going to forget
Yeah,
the reason why you started. So
I agree with that.
you definitely just need to take your time and grow at your own pace, because everyone gets to where they're going or needed to be at a different rate. You may grow faster than the next person, or the next person may grow faster than you, but you don't want to just be disheartened and just never give up. That's my piece of advice too, is don't give up.
Yeah, I totally agree because even at first I got a little disencouraged because like certain days like my views would be looking really nice and my stream summary would be great. Other days like I wouldn't see views at all the entire stream. And it kind of just be like, okay, maybe I'm doing something wrong. But then like I just learned like it takes patience because now I'm slowly growing a following, and it's slowly getting better and progressively getting better. But it just takes a lot of patience.
It does. So when you stream, let me ask you this: when you stream, do you? This is a kind of a thing on TikTok that I see too all the time. Do you watch your live viewers? Do you have that on or off? Do you care about it? Does it bother you if it's on or off? What's your take on that?
For me, what I try to do is if it's on, I try to like make sure like it's interacting with it and everything like that. If it's off, I try to like still make sure that I'm able to like see and communicate, even if like I can't really like see the messages at that moment or see anything at that moment. Still try and make sure like I'm still being present rather than kind of just doing whatever I'm doing in that moment.
Okay. I agree. I normally have mine selected off. So if any new streamer is watching this, either now live or later, because that's another piece of advice that I have is that don't pay attention to that, because what'll happen is, and it's happened to me, where I've gone from 10 to 15 viewers down to one, and then you stop talking, you get upset and frustrated, and I think it just kind of takes away from the whole vibe on stream. So,
Yeah.
just but to piggyback on that, how do you when you have no one in stream, and we kind of talked about this a little bit, when you have no one in stream and you're talking to yourself, do you like run out of things to say or talk about? Let's say you're playing a game by yourself. How much silence is in your stream? Are you always talking all of the time? Do you think that really matters?
I try to talk as much as I can because I can get like socially awkward and quiet and things like that. But, like I try to make sure, like just in case someone pops in and pops out, that like I can kind of get like a sense of what my stream is and things like that. And like sometimes it can get really quiet, like if I'm like genuinely focused or like things like that. Like I still try to make sure like I'm actively talking, but like not to the point where like I'm talking too much, if that makes sense.
Yes, that makes total sense. I agree. And again, we're back to that fine line. You can, talk, you can feel like you're just nonstop talking, and then all you're doing is talking, and then it takes away from the game. And then but then on the other side of that is that if you're not talking enough and Chad is just sitting there watching you play the game, then that kind of gets old and boring too. Because especially on Twitch, when you were just sitting and playing a game, that's really hard to grow on now, and you really have to, be different, so to speak, than someone else. So that can be really difficult too, to kind of find your niche on what you can do to be different than anyone else to get noticed.
Yeah, exactly. Because especially with like playing like small games like Sea of Thieves or Stardew Valley, and even Minecraft, as big of a game that is, you don't really see many people playing it. And like you have to make sure like you are unique in some way. Like for me specifically, my name in general draws people to my streams. And like you want to make sure like you're branding yourself. You want to make sure you're pushing yourself out there rather than just being a closed off like super, I don't know how to word it, just like making sure that no matter what you're kind of, even if you don't really feel it that day, just being authentic, making your stream you, not trying to copy or be someone else's stream and try to be like someone else. Be your own person, be your own character, because eventually that'll pull different people in and they'll love you for your personality, not for someone else's like content.
Right, I agree, because it's okay to, like, take different ideas from different streamers, that have been successful, that have made it and have done a good job with it, but you don't want to completely copy that, because then you'll feel like a copycat. But you can definitely take pieces of someone's stream and kind of mold that into your personality if it fits and if it works for what you're looking for. And you talk about it being brandable. Definitely, I see that all the time on Twitch, is where the people either don't have a profile picture, or they don't have, they have a name with a lot of numbers in it, or it's hard to pronounce. You have, if you're really serious about streaming, like you said, you have to be brandable, and you have to be able to show larger either sponsors or other people that you can be brandable, and that will help you grow.
Yeah, exactly. Because even like me, like at first, my name has gone through various different changes. But how I saw it was, think about if you put it on a t-shirt. Think about if you put your name tag on a t-shirt. How would it look? Do you think you as someone looking on the outside would wear this? Would you look into it? Would you want to be a part of something like that? If the answer is no, then kind of work around it and figure out what you can add to, what you can improve on, what you can change. Because your name is kind of like everything. Like it's like that first glimpse into your stream. Because you have like the picture and maybe like the quick animation of whatever's on screen, and then it's what your name is or what that picture pulls is what gains people in.
Right, right, exactly. So we're gonna fast forward. We're gonna move on just a little bit because I want to hear that this is like a really hot topic. Like, I hear this all the time. You know, as gamers, we probably get this question a lot. What do you think the best gaming console is out there?
For me, I've been PlayStation my entire life. PlayStation and Nintendo. Just recently started playing on Xbox, and I'm still leaning a little bit more towards PlayStation, but I feel like I'm biased. But for me, I just say it's PlayStation because they have mainly like some of the greatest classic games that I played. And with Xbox, they do have classics, but I always end up playing PlayStation if I just want to feel a little bit of nostalgia.
Right. So what was the very first game you played?
For me, I think console. If we go based off of PlayStation, I think it was maybe definitely one of the Call of Duties. It was definitely then because I started gaming really, really late. And if like going like based off of Nintendo and things like that, it was probably like a Galaga or a Super Mario generation of something. One of those. And Xbox it was Halo.
Okay. You know,
First game I ever played.
fun fact: I've never played Halo. Just putting that out there.
I played it because my dad was obsessed with it. He was just like, "You have to play it if you like Call of Duty. You just gotta play it." I was just like, "Fine." I played through all of them.
Right. I think a lot of us can relate to playing Super Mario Brothers as one of our first games that as gamers have played. I think a lot of us have that common denominator when it comes to gaming. It seems like when I ask people that, everyone always says Super Mario Brothers, unless they're like my kids' age, which have never really played Super Mario Brothers. But I think it's kind of it's interesting because we all come from different walks of life, but yet we're all so connected. And when it comes to gaming,
Exactly.
and I think that's what I love about the community that surrounds gaming and surrounds streaming because like I said, we're all from different walks of life, but we're all connected. Um so what was your very first Twitch streamer you watched as either a gamer or when you first started getting into Twitch as streaming?
My first Twitch streamer I watched, I think it was someone in like the Vanos gaming crew. I don't remember exactly who it was, but I know it was definitely somewhere around there. And then like along with YouTube, like somewhere in that generation of things. And then also Jacksepticeye and PewDiePie.
Oh
Those
yeah,
were all
PewDiePie.
time. Could watch those for hours.
Right. So what is your opinion on Fortnite? I haven't heard you talk about Fortnite a lot. What is your opinions on that type of game?
I've played it. I think it's nice. I just can't build to save my life, so I don't play the game.
Yeah.
I played the Cube season. I played all the way up to I think season 9, and I was just like, yeah, there's no point. I can't build like that. I probably will not progress unless I learn how to build.
Right. Season 9 was actually when I started. So when you stopped, I started. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I completely I know what you're talking about there. It's very you can that's another frustrating game very quickly.
yeah. Because
Um
me, it was mainly just pressing buttons and hoping something happened to where I
right.
could build and still be shooting at whoever I was battling at that
Yep.
moment.
100 I feel your pain. Um so have you ever now this is might be a little bit of a strange questions, but I thought I'd ask. Have you ever had a crush on a video game character? And if so, who was that or was that?
I wouldn't say crush. It was mainly just, oh, this is like a they have a decent vibe to this character. Um, but for me mainly, I don't see the hype on the new Resident Evil character. I don't see it. I don't see the hype.
Right.
But for me, it was kind of I'm trying to think of their name. It was someone from The Last of Us. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But yeah, it was the main character.
Oh,
I just
okay.
thought their vibe was just really nice and how protective they were of the other character because my names are blanking at the moment.
Right.
But
So if you
yeah,
had to, live in a gaming world out of the games that you have played, if you had to live one of those worlds, where would it be and why?
Sea of Thieves because I wouldn't mind being a pirate, like sailing the seas. Wouldn't mind it. The thing is, I wouldn't like dealing with like the megalodon or the kraken or kraken, however it's pronounced. Like that wouldn't that'd be a downside, but like just sailing the seas and sailing and just seeing the world, I feel like would be really cool. And then like along with Kingdom Hearts, probably either there too. Just seeing different worlds and different universes, I feel like would be really cool, and I wouldn't mind living in them.
Awesome. So you talk about Sea of Thieves a lot, and I have actually only played that game like twice. So if I wanted to start playing, what is some advice for a new gamer in that game? What is your advice to me?
Don't get disheartened if another team decides to blow up your ship. That's the biggest advice. Like, don't get it. Like, it's gonna happen quite a lot, and sometimes you can build alliances, sometimes you can't, and sometimes you meet players that are complete just pains, and you kind of just gotta deal with it at one step at a time. Like, there's been times when I've been playing, thankfully off stream, where like you'd hear like terrible things and just people being really disrespectful, and you kind of just got to deal with that because certain people in that game are very toxic, and just dealing with that in that moment, and then also learning that you don't have to be the greatest ship person. You don't have to be, oh, I can, it's right here, here, and here. You don't have to try and find the treasure right away. Just enjoying the game, loving the game, and just
I think a lot of
in your
us
space.
I think a lot of us can relate to the toxicity because in every game genre or every any game out there, there's always going to be those toxic players. So as a streamer, let's say you have toxic players that you find on stream. How do you combat that and still have good vibes in your stream? How do you get past that, as bad as that can be sometimes? Because there's been some really bad players I've come in contact with. You know,
Yeah, for me personally, it's happened to me actually on stream, and someone was just like slaying just racial slurs, and we don't still don't know. And it was thankfully when my stream, it was the day my stream was muted the entire time, but it was just really bad. And I was just like, you know what, like I understand your frustration. I don't really get where your like animosity is coming from, or like where your anger is coming from. I completely understand. If you want to sink our ship, fine, whatever. We'll let you. Otherwise, we're just gonna go the opposite direction and leave you be because we don't need that energy or those kind of vibes here.
right,
Kind of just left it alone, and then went back to playing, and it stung, but it kind of just like endless kind of community. Like you kind of hear things like that, you'll see things like that, because gaming community can be very toxic. But there's also really great people that you can meet and really great players, and you just kind of gotta just take the bad with the good, and you'll probably meet more good players and great people than you will the bad and toxic ones.
right. I agree. They a bad apple ruins a bunch. That's the common saying that a lot of people say, but it can be very frustrating. So I want to talk about streaming mental health a little bit. I want to touch on that subject, and I know it's near and dear to your heart and mine. What is some advice? Back into a new streamer mindset here with the streaming mental health. I know it's a topic that we don't talk about a lot. It's not talked about much. What do you think, or how can we, as a community, do a better job with that?
Reaching out to different people, like if even if you can't actively just like, so it's like say if it's like a really high person and they don't really allow comments, like maybe just like dropping a message in chat, just being like, hey, They can kind of see you're like having a rough day, if you need someone to talk to, or even if your day's kind of messed up, you're still like a great person and just like uplifting their spirits, because one great compliment can go a long way. It can help someone out. And just going about it that way, just helping them feel welcomed and feeling like they have someone, because you never know what that person may be feeling in that moment.
Right. I agree. And I always I always tell people is that you're never alone. Everyone, feels like they're alone or they're on an island by themselves. But as a streaming community, not aside from Steam Warriors, but in general, we are built in a community where no one is ever alone and no one should ever feel like they are or have to be alone. Whether it's talking on stream, there's been streams, and this has been, when I was in the mixer days, but there's been days where I stopped my stream playing my game just to chat with people because of some of the comments that they've actually come in and talked about. So what I have done in my stream is I tell everyone is that my stream is open for anybody to come in and talk to. Mine is a safe place. Knowing people have that safe place, I think will definitely go a long way. Whether it's on social media, whether it's in your stream, I have a green heart on my profile. The people know that is where that's a place that they can come in, and they if they need to talk to somebody, they definitely have that outlet with me. So and I know you probably feel the same way, unicorns.
Yeah.
If anybody needs somebody to talk to, feel free to reach out to us, or anybody on Steam Warriors will definitely help you get through
Yeah.
whatever you're going through. We're not trained therapists, obviously, but we definitely will listen to you.
Yeah, I've had my fair share of just being there for people, and just my messages are open to everyone. My social media is all the same. If you just need someone to talk to, I'm always there to listen. It's never a moment where I'll turn anyone away. It's always open no matter what.
Right.
I've been there with feeling not having anyone and things like that, and I don't want other people to feel that way. So my messages are everything, are always open.
So back to, I want to get back to gaming and streaming a little bit. You said you've streamed a little bit on YouTube and Twitch. Um, do you feel that there's less toxicity with streamers on YouTube because there isn't as many people streaming on YouTube, and more toxicity on Twitch just because of the environment Twitch has created?
For me, with streaming on YouTube, you don't really gain really much from it. Like that's kind of like a guessing game in a way, because you may someone may come against your stream, but like there's like no set thing or set timeline thing that you can click on to see like different streamers. Like, even in like the gaming section, like if you're a small streamer, it's very unlikely for you to be seen, especially with like higher up streamers streaming and things like that. And when you do, and you like maybe you get like maybe two followers, it's, it's kind of like, will they stay, will they leave? And if they do stay, like it's kind of like, oh, it may stay but it might not. So it's kind of like a guessing game. Rather with Twitch, anyone can go in and out, and if they like looking for smaller streamers, they're easier to find. They have that relevance and that low to high, new to old section, rather than you're easy to find than on YouTube, because I noticed that a lot.
Right. So do you think with, I talked about TikTok a lot. I think I'm addicted to it. With TikTok, do you think that is the future streaming platform? Because now you can go live through Stream Elements. You can do that. Do you think that TikTok I mean, obviously they're not going to beat Twitch, but do you think they have the ability to compete with them down the road as a streaming community?
Honestly, yes and no, because the way guidelines are and the way that they restrict certain things, for sure there's certain games you can't play on there because of just whether it's like a gory game, or whether there's like too much um action or things like that. There's certain things that you can't play on there, and like that combating with that, you may not be able to play the games you love based on their community guidelines. And it's just like focusing on that. And then rather than Twitch, you kind of have that freedom to kind of play what you want Also, like it's kind of there, but you don't have to worry about it as much. Like, say you're in the middle of a stream and say the game does something and it's out of your control, then you kind of got to deal with that and just hope your stream doesn't get taken down in the middle of it.
Right. I've actually had that experience on Facebook gaming, and we haven't talked about Facebook gaming at all. But Facebook gaming for me, I have been my stream has been shut down before because of the gaming music that it's out of my control. Yeah, I can shut it off, but on some scenes you can't. So yeah, I agree. You really kind of take your chances on some of these other platforms. So I want to touch base on Twitch a little bit, and we talked about you mentioned community guidelines. What do you think Twitch can do to do better with making their community guidelines more fair for everybody instead of picking and choosing?
Honestly, I think that some of I feel like they could work on like more like their community guidelines going based off like what things people can say, because I feel like it could also make the streaming community way less toxic if you can't say certain things, rather than like streamer having to go and put it in like their set words that you can't say this, this, and this. It'd be easier if like certain topics or just certain things in general are just completely blocked out altogether,
Right.
because it stopped a lot of issues and a lot of problems and a lot of toxicity
Right.
doing it that way.
So I have to ask, and because this is a subject near and dear to my heart about Twitch, is what as a gamer, as a gamer, what how do you feel about the hot tub streaming on Twitch? Yes, is that a good place for it, or is that not a good place for it?
I just worry someone may get electrocuted. That's like my biggest thing. Cause like your stream, your choice, cool. What happens? Something falls in the water. That's my biggest issue, and like that's why I can't just like interact with those, because I'm just like, nah, I don't want to witness someone almost dying. It's not. It's not me. Can't do it.
That's actually something that I've never thought of, and that's a very good point that you bring up. What I
Yeah.
what I focus more on, I guess, is the other side of it. I have children, obviously. I have children. And I don't want my kids to see that kind of thing on Twitch. So, as a parent, for me, like what is your advice to me? Do I allow my kids on Twitch because they may find that stuff, or do we kind of go with it?
Honestly, I would say try setting like the guideline things. I think there's like a thing where you can do like the mature audiences, and like it has like parental access to where you can like stop them from looking at like certain things. Like say like certain streamers, like they have it set to like mature audiences only, and like doing it like that way. So like things like that don't happen. Try and be precautious of it, but like also have that knowledge that there is a possibility that that could happen and they may see something like that. Also taking the precautionary steps to where it won't be easy to, and doing it based off that.
Right. And it's not just Twitch too. We pick on Twitch all the time because that's, where we stream from, but on YouTube there's, things on YouTube that I wish I've never seen before, and I'm not going to mention it, but there's things on YouTube that I didn't know existed, so anyone can find it. It's out there, but you're right. These platforms, I guess, aren't the parents. So, we have to do our job and do our duty to make sure that we protect our children. So, very good point that you brought up on that. So what do you, out of all the games you played, and we're going to go back to gaming because we've kind of got off topic a little bit, but what's the best weapon out of the games you played you've ever used?
My go-to weapons are either a light machine gun or a nice assault rifle, either or depending on the game, and if I'm kind of just, it depends on what I'm doing, because certain games I'll maybe decide, like say if I'm playing Apex, 'cause I've slowly started to get into that,
Mhm.
playing with like a Spitfire, or if we're like doing a challenge, because a lot of my friends play it and I'm garbage at the game,
Mhm.
but be like, oh, let's do the challenge with a pistol on the game. And doing that and just figuring out where that goes. For me, all the way around, it's always a light machine gun. That's the first game. That's the first gun I'll ever pick up. Most of my classes either have a light machine gun or assault rifle.
Oh, okay. Good choices. Have you ever pretended to be sick to get out of something that you had to do or wanted to do? The game.
Yes, I have.
I
A
think we
few
all can
times.
admit to that, right?
Yeah. For me, like it's rare for me though, because like if I say I'm gonna do something, I'll try to commit to it. If I just genuinely cannot find the energy to do something, I'm not going to do so.
Right. So if you were the CEO of Twitch, say tomorrow you wake up, you're the CEO of Twitch, what is the first thing you would do to change Twitch?
Honestly, work on being able to change how people change access to certain things, like because Twitch is kind of one of those places where it doesn't actively like keep people under the age of like 16 from seeing like certain things. Change that to make it where like you actually need to either prove or like show that you are over the age of a certain age to be watching something, because there's a lot of things on Twitch and just streaming platforms in general children should not be seeing, and just figure it out that way and then go based off that and move forward with that.
Awesome. That's would definitely be an improvement on any streaming platform. So we're back to streaming. When it comes to like schedule, do you have a set schedule that you stream to? And if not, or yes, do you think that is okay to have a set schedule, or just you should be able to stream whenever you want?
I'm trying to get my streaming schedule started because I had it originally, and then when I took that break, kind of just disappeared. So now I just kind of stream whenever. But I say that it brings stability to your channel. It kind of gives people that insight of when you're streaming, and if they were there before and couldn't stay long and wanted to come back, it kind of lets them know when and where you'll be streaming and how long you'll be streaming. It kind of does that. But at the same time, you don't really need that as like a dictatorship. Like, stream whenever you feel comfortable. Like, there may be days in your schedule where you don't feel like streaming at all. You just don't have that energy, and because it's your schedule, you kind of have to. And I feel like if you don't want to do something, you shouldn't have to. It should be based off of your energy and what you want to do, and not based off of a pre-schedule you had set.
Right. And our streams are kind of like a TV show, so people want to know when they're live and when they can turn on the TV and see us. But life does get in the way.
Yeah.
And we all have experienced that. As you said you took a break and you're getting back into your streaming. Is it hard for you to get back into streaming once you've stopped for a while? And why is that?
For me, it was the motivation. Because when I first started, I had the motivation. I had a set time that I was streaming. I had put out my days. I had made sure everything was set the way that it should be. And then when I took that break, it was kind of like the motivation wasn't there as much. I didn't have that energy to say, okay, I'm going to stream at this time today, this time tomorrow, and do that. It kind of just kind of dispersed a little bit. And so it's kind of just gaining that motivation back to get that schedule or get that energy to say, okay, I'm going to stream for an hour or two today, do this, and then I may take a break tomorrow, or I could stream again tomorrow, depending on how I feel.
Right. Do you feel when you're not live, do you feel like your community just disappears? Do you feel like people forget who you are? Because as a streamer, I feel the same way. If I have to cancel stream or I have to postpone it for a different day, or if I don't stream for a while, I feel like my community disappears. How do we combat that? Do you think that is? Do you think that, or maybe that's something that you don't think about?
I think that it kind of disappears in a way because, like, say someone's used to seeing you every day streaming, seeing you at specific time, specific everything, and then you kind of just disappear for like 3 days. It kind of makes it harder to like know when you're going to be streaming because you weren't there, and it kind of makes me feel bad because like me yesterday I was feeling very under the weather and almost went to the hospital, and I didn't end up streaming, so I ended up streaming this morning because I felt really bad, and I'd posted on all of my social medias that I had would be streaming to make up for it, so
Right.
that it lets them at least know that I'm still actively making sure that I'm keeping everyone updated and things like that, but also like taking care of myself physically or mentally, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah, there's days where we just don't want to do anything or don't want to stream, but we want to take care of that community. But I think if you have a good community, that they'll understand that you take breaks or understand that, things come up. And so I think we beat ourselves up more than our community does. I can probably tell you that. Um, but I want to ask you this question. This kind of popped in my head. If you could have any sponsorship in the world, what email are you waiting for? What is the number one company you want sponsored by?
It have to either it. There's tons that I just would love to have just a sponsorship with, and it'd probably be like a clothing company. I'm not sure which one because I love clothes and they're very expensive, but either clothes or like there's a mental illness brand. I'm trying to think of their name. To make sure your friends are okay. That one because it brings awareness to mental health, and it just that brand in general is have any merch yet because I tend to do other things and things like that. But that brand altogether, it's literally just about mental health awareness and making sure people around you, people in your community, are okay, that everyone knows that they're not alone, even if they mentally feel like it. Just having someone be there for you.
It sounds like the business that you've started is you're kind of going in that direction. Like you're kind of
Well,
headed into that direction. Do you think down the road, let's say it takes off, do you see yourself as a business owner, maybe to start sponsoring streamers, and giving
I
back to
want to.
that community, and
I
kind of,
definitely want to.
yeah. Hopefully, I hope one day, we all know unicorns before she becomes famous, right? Before she becomes a well-known businesswoman. So we want to make sure that we get our clout on that. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. For me,
Um, but go ahead.
for me, how I see it, I want to start small and eventually I want to have it to where my business is has that mental health awareness orientation into it because mental health and physical health are such a big part of my life that I want to be able to help people in the long run. I want to be able to support people and give back to that community that helped me and that doesn't really have as much as support as it should.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, and streaming mental health and mental health awareness is again a topic that we don't talk about a lot. I feel like it's when you talk about it, people just stop talking to you because they don't want to bring it up. They don't want to talk about it. But,
Yeah.
you know, as a streamer, what do you stand for? Because we all stand for something in our stream. So what is your number one thing that you stand for as a streamer?
It's okay not to be okay. That's like my biggest thing because, we push ourselves to be okay all the time and be that anchor of just being perfect when we don't have to be. It's okay to have a breakdown or two. It's okay to just take a moment and cry and be that second of just letting go and feeling whatever we need to feel in that moment. And it's okay to just take time to reflect and allow yourself to go through whatever you're going through at that moment rather than letting it bottle up and not dealing with it.
Yeah,
Just
talking about things like that doesn't make you weak, and I think that's a common thing that people think
yeah.
about is that if you talk about mental health or you talk about personal issues, that it makes you a weak person. I think that it shows your community that you're willing to open up and you're willing to help others, and definitely is a good thing to stand for. And I think a lot more streamers. Do you think? Let's talk about the big streamers now, like the largest streamers in the world. Do you think they're not doing enough for streamer mental health? Do you think that's their responsibility as partnered streamers to talk about that more?
I feel like there are specific streamers that will go into depth and will talk about not being okay and just needing that space. But there's also like the really, really, really big streamers that kind of just like let things like that go and only talk about it if it's something prominent in the media. If it's not in the media, they tend to not really speak on it. And while there are other streamers that are kind of just as big that will still talk about it and actively try to change whatever is going on in that situation.
Right. And I think, with the big streamers is that a lot of them became to fame basically recently, like, in the last year or two. So I think they're working through their own things, but we look to them, as smaller streamers, we look to them as whether they're role models, whether we look for advice, um, whether that kind of thing. So, do you think down the road that streaming mental health is something that's going to be more of a norm to talk about than what we're dealing with right now?
I feel like it will because as we see, like, for example, Generation Z, as they tend to grow up and see and become streamers and things like that because they are prominent on saying that it's okay not to be okay, that it's okay to have mental health problems and things like that. I feel like it'll be a topic that will be generalized because it'll you kind of just said it'll be there. Like they will make sure that it's there.
Right. So we have a question from the audience. What is the best way to get viewers? Like fastest way to reach affiliate? What is your take on that?
For me, what I do and what's kind of got me to two out of the three that I need to be affiliate is just streaming for an hour a day or two. Um, just keeping like a nice welcoming energy because having two out of the three things, or I think it's four things done, is better than none. And once you get the two like biggest ones out of the way, then you can work on those ones where it's just like, okay, I can kind of get this in no time. It's fine. Just building that community and having that strong relationship with your followers and doing that and just building great relationships with different people is the fastest way to get to affiliate.
Right. And you're affiliate, right? Unicorns.
I'm almost there. I'm
Okay.
working towards.
So what do you need? What do you need to reach affiliate?
I think it's just the views for me because I think I have everything else. It's just mainly my views and my followers that need to get there. Because everything else is set and I've reached most of the goals that I need to. It's just mainly my views and the followers that I need to gain in order to reach affiliate.
Right. So, and that's, a good question, from the audience. And you have to, network. We talk about network and we talk about networking with other streamers. What does networking look like to you?
Talking about it on all your social medias. See, me, I'm kind of a private person, so I don't really tend to post things that I'm doing. But talking about it on your different platforms, whether it's on your TikTok, whether it's on your Facebook, your Instagram, Snapchat, whatever, just talking about it on those, letting your friends know, even like some of your close friends, just be like, hey, this is something that I'm doing. Can you please support me or support just like the idea, let your other friends know, just like help me brand my business,
Right.
help support me in a way.
And really, you shouldn't ever stream to zero viewers, right? And we talk about that a lot. You know, you never should be streaming to 0 viewers because you have friends and you have family, and getting their support, asking them, you know, hey, will you support me in this journey? Um, what would you say to those families that maybe don't support their streamer family friends as well as they should, or maybe they don't?
Your support is the biggest thing possible because, oops, my phone just froze. But your support is the biggest thing possible. It will probably be the thing that gets them to that point of that support, or get them to affiliate or partner or whatever they're working towards. It'll get them to that point because you may have community and your followers and things that you get, but your family could be that push that you need. It could be those extra followers or that extra viewers that can get you there. Like, you don't, sometimes you don't even have to be active in chat. Just lurking or just having the stream in the background if you're like watching TV or something does tremendous. Those lurks are what matter the most. That matters as well, but those lurks are what help build that community. It makes people click on the stream rather than scroll past it.
Right. So you bring up lurks, and it's a great a lead-in question. Is why do you think streamers? Why do you think they do not like lurkers as much as we love the lurkers? Because us smaller streamers, we don't care if you're chatting or not. As long as you're there, we know that you're there. But these large streamers, and I see it all the time, if you don't come into my stream and if you don't chat with me, then don't bother coming in. Why do you think that is the case? Why do you think that they don't like the lurkers?
I feel like it could be based on many things. Maybe it's because like people can clip easier that way, or maybe it's just like they want people more active in their chat. But like, you got to also take into consideration some people just may be super shy or may be socially awkward and may not know how to interact with people. You have to take that into consideration. And other people, believe it or not, lurkers are probably a big part or a big percentage of your viewing, because you have people that talk in chat and are actively building communication, but you have those lurkers that watch you and kind of see your energy and things like that. And whenever they may feel comfortable, that's when they may start talking. But if you push them away, it's not gonna give them the insight to want to come back and enjoy your stream.
Right. You never know who's watching. You know, that's one thing that I always think to myself is you never know who might be watching you. And lurkers are okay. And lurkers are always you know, needed in every stream, and I really honestly don't know why these larger streamers have that, you know, environment. And not only about lurkers too, but I want to get to talk about subscribers a little bit. So I've been into to a few streamers that are large streamers that have complained about people not being able to subscribe to their channel. That creates toxicity, I believe, for that community. Do you think that it's okay to, you know, basically tell your community that you have to subscribe, you have to donate bits, you have to do this in order to be a part of this?
Me, no, I think it's just them being there. Like, me personally, whenever I shall hit affiliate or even partner, I don't really necessarily care about subscribing or like the bits and things like that. Those are nice. I just care about if you're having a great time, if you're enjoying my content, and you like the energy that I bring to my stream, to my content, to community. That's all I really care about. Like, hits and subscribers, that's cool. And they'll all be appreciated the same, all loved the same. But even if you can't subscribe, just following and just being there, just actively showing that you support me means more than anything.
Right. Right. If you could, if you had, now this is a kind of a fun question here. If you could go out and buy one thing for your stream to better it, to improve it, or to make it any better, to make it different, what would that be and why?
Probably a better mic and like a webcam, because I want to do like face cam streaming eventually, work up to it at least, and do it that way, and just like be able to, like, so my followers can actively see my face and grow a connection with me and not just a computer screen and my voice.
Right. Okay.
Do it that way.
So, and this is another great question. I think you're reading my mind, unicorns, when I'm asking these questions. But, um, do you feel that having a camera is required to make it as a big streamer?
I don't think it's required because, I mean, if we look at a big YouTuber who just recently started, H2O Delirious, he's been on YouTube for years and just recently started streaming and has yet to show his face. Is one of probably the biggest YouTubers that you'd see in the gaming community. And he doesn't show his face and he's very successful. So I don't think it's necessarily a necessity, but if you want to, that is your choice.
Right. Corpse is another YouTuber. I don't know if you're thinking of the same one I am,
Yeah.
but he's another one too that no one has seen his face either, which kind of adds that mysteriousness to that person because I
Yeah, it
think he
pulls people in.
he masks his voice too. I'm pretty sure it's not his real voice either, so we really don't know who this person.
From what I was told and from when I watched his streams, he says that he has a medical condition that causes it. And that's why, but he also does have a mic that he can mask it with just a little bit more. It
Right.
kind of tends to make his voice deeper.
That is very interesting and kind of adds to that. That's like putting on a show. So, you know, back to with the gaming industry, it's always changing and it's always evolving. Um, do you think that there will be a time where VR is going to really take over streaming and be the norm in our gaming community?
I feel like it's kind of getting there with like certain games, like how like Phasmophobia. That's like a really popular game right now. Um, People are tending to play that more on VR, and that's kind of where I see it. And that's it can be a big thing, but I also people think people love to still be able to pick up controller or pick up a mouse and keyboard and play it that way.
Right. Um, yeah, I've never played Phasmophobia, so I'm not into horror movies or
I'm not
games at
familiar.
all. So Resident Evil, Phasmophobia are two games that I'll probably never play. Now, there is one game that's kind of a horror game. It's called Little Nightmares, and I don't know if you've seen it yet, but it looks really, really good. So I want to talk a little bit, just a little bit about with gaming. So what would you say to streamers if one day they don't like the game that they play anymore and their community is evolved around that one said game? Do you think it's okay as a streamer to change games or stick with
Yeah,
it?
change games. Do whatever you feel is comfortable. If you don't love a game, then don't force yourself to play it. Because if your community is as great as it is, then it should they'll love you all the same. They'll support your content all the same. And who knows, they more adapt and they may love the new game just as much.
Very good advice. So Thanos has a question and he said you've probably answered it before, but what got you into gaming and streaming?
Um Honestly, my entire family games. Varies consoles, varies things. So it kinda was just like in my nature to want to pick up a controller and play a game. And for me, for a while, it was kind of just playing like the more like small games, like the games where you don't like have to actively talk to people, like Super Mario or playing Cuphead and things like that. Just playing those games like that until I've worked up to wanting to play like PvP and multiplayer games, and then moving on from there, I kind of just started and went off from there.
So, with the where there's and and this is a fact and this is a very interesting fact. There's 9 million streamers on. So what makes you different than the rest of the 9 million people streaming?
Honestly, I want to save my energy, which is kind of like a cliche answer, but my energy is different because when I'm on a stream, I don't stream to put like on a fake show or anything like that. Like I make sure that I'm genuinely having a good time. If I'm not enjoying the stream, someone else is not gonna enjoy the stream. My energy goes based off of what I'm doing. And if I'm not enjoying it, then my audience won't enjoy it. So I try to keep my energy boosted, elevated, and keep all of whatever is going on in my personal life out of it. I try to make sure my life is, I'm streaming, everything's fine. Everything is okay, no matter what. Even if, like, say there something bad happens, that it may be bad, but nonetheless, I'm gonna continue streaming and enjoying my time because time is now, and whatever may happen may be terrible or bad, but in that moment, I'm focusing on keeping my audience happy, me being happy in that moment, and I'm not gonna dim or down how I feel or change the way I do because something happens.
Right. And and you don't want to not do something because you don't, it may not be the normal thing that you do. And what if that's one thing that will make you famous, make you different than everyone else on stream? So don't be afraid to try new things, try different things, as long as you're comfortable with it, as long as you're, able to do it. Don't force yourself to do something that you're not going to like or enjoy on stream. But it's okay to have fun. It's okay to, do things a little bit quirky or different or out of the norm than anybody else. So it's definitely good advice there, unicorns. Um, so that's all the questions that I have for you, unicorns. Is there any of the questions that you have for you, the community, myself, Steam Warriors, anything that you want to ask? I want to flip the table and you ask the questions now for a little bit if you'd like.
I don't really think I have any questions, just like more than I guess advice just for the community in general. And it's just saying that, that it's okay to not jump to stardom and freedom and famous right away. It's okay to beat at the beat of, beat at the beat of your own drum and just do what you feel comfortable.
Right.
Don't try and push yourself just because you see someone else being successful and you're not there yet. Take your time rather than rushing because if you rush, you're not going to get there as fast because it's going to be plenty of bumps in the roads, plenty of up and downs. And if you try to skip over them and run over them, they're just going to come back around and meet full circle.
Right. Yep. And when we talked about this earlier, is that everyone reaches their goal at a different pace. So, as a big streamer, as big streamers as we see, as they're successful, and how big they've become virtually overnight sometimes. Do you think that they rub it in too much, like on social media, like on TikTok or on Twitter? You're talking about somebody donated thousands of dollars to their stream or this and that. Do you think they rub it in way too much than they should, or is it okay for them to do that?
I feel like it depends on the situation. For me personally, how I see it is if you're celebrating something great and amazing that happened to you, that's great. I'm happy for you. But don't make it seem like as if other people are beneath or under you just because they didn't have that same experience or they didn't get that same specialty or something like that. Keep it to like a minimum, like be as excited as you want, broadcast it as happy as you want. Don't go like overly bragging or doing that because that kind of tends to push people away rather than keep them around.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's almost like flaunting, jewelry around where someone who can't afford it, right? It's kind of, but also on the flip side of that too is that you know what you have to do,
To
what you
reach
can
that.
work for to reach that. You're exactly right. So it's kind of, it's borderline, and I know why they do it because they're excited about it, and they love, and it's okay to enjoy and to promote the successes too. But you have to remember is that not everyone's in the same boat. So you definitely a fine line there. So well, that's going to wrap up our very first podcast that we've ever had. So I want to thank you again, Unicorns, for you
Yeah, of
donating your
course.
time, your energy. I want everyone who hasn't followed her, go follow her. When are you going live next? When is your next day you're going live?
Um, I'm going to try to be live Friday. We're trying to figure that schedule out and what we're playing because I'm going to be playing with new people and try
Okay,
to figure that out. But yeah, probably Friday around 4:30 Central Time.
4:30 Central Time. Okay, you guys hear that? So 4:30 Central Time. Let's bombard her stream. Let's go get her affiliate ship. Let's go get her reach her goals. Um, her Twitch, your keyboard not working. Your Twitch is the same name as your name, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
chat, your her Twitch is xxunicorns_die. That is her Twitch handle. You can find her on Twitch and other social platforms too, with that same hashtag, right, or the same tag.
Yeah.
And she plays Sea of Thieves mainly. So that's her game of choice. So if you guys love Sea of Thieves, definitely go check her out. So again, I want to thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'll see you later.
Great.
Okay, guys, that it wraps up the very first podcast. I want to thank everyone for stopping by and for